2021, four men got together to make a radio show that nobody asked for. This is the result.
Welcome to Broad Street Radio. I'm Michael Morris with my buddy Jonathan Meenick, Bill Warren. Guys, it's going to be an open show today. We have two topics. You tell me which one you want first. You want Cuomo or you want Afghanistan?
I'll take Ape Tit for 700.
Fantastic. We're going to start with Cuomo.
Cuomo, that is.
So by the time the show comes out, it'll be a few weeks after the fact. But I just want to know, how touchy-grabby are Italians?
I don't know. Maybe as much or close to the Macedonians.
I just thought that it was an odd way to defend yourself in a pre-taped thing that I'm Italian, I touch everybody. I don't know that that's an excuse when you have 12 people saying you overtouched me.
Biden doesn't sound like an Italian name at all.
That guy only smells people.
Oh,
there is
a difference. There is a difference.
You're
right.
What he reminds me of? You know that snuggle bear that's always smelling the laundry? Now, if you take it that approach, I think that that's fine. So if I was sniffing your head, Bill, and I go, you smell like a summer breeze, you shouldn't be upset with me. I don't know that I would embrace you by the buttocks to do it, but I think that there's kind of a good and bad to it.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure it's all bad.
I'm going to smell you after the show to see if you know what I mean. Not in a weird way, in a show-related bit.
Sure. Yeah, it's still going to be creepy.
So let's talk about this. So the bigger issue is we know that he's in trouble for several things, that he has no home. The fact that he had to leave the governor's mansion and had nowhere to go. Even when I was getting divorced, I had somewhere to go. I had like a coworker to live with.
Well, I'm sure that there's some open spots in some of the long-term care facilities in New York.
You know, it's funny that he never even thought to rent a room there.
Right.
They're not very safe, apparently.
Allegedly.
So, yes, again, this is all
Maybe he
alleged.
went to that ship, that floating hospital that was never used.
You know what the best meme I ever saw, or it's actually a video, well, Rachel Maddow, who again, as I always say, favorite softball player ever, says, oh, I'm sure there's going to be ships in the harbor. And then they show the very next day the ships were there. And I just thought, you can't miss on everything, right? like you can miss 20% and I'll go, tax returns, okay, you got it. But that was such an egregious thing.
Yeah.
What's funny to me is the media is now kind of ignoring it. Remember the whole Cuomo sexual thing?
Right.
Yeah.
Now they're all acting like they never said it and they're attacking him.
Maybe that's why the United States pulled out of Afghanistan.
I do think they're totally related.
They're like, holy shit, one of us is going to go down for grabbing. We need to do something about this.
Listen,
let's F up the Middle East.
If I want to change the subject, like if I get in trouble in a meeting the next time, I'm pulling the troops out of somewhere.
Right.
And they'll be like, aren't you in advertising? Doesn't matter. Pull the troops out. I need to distract from this bomb. Bill, your opinion, because you've known a lot of swarthy Italian people. Have they ever gotten in trouble for just being grabby?
No. No, I can't think of anyone that's gotten in trouble for being grabby. Sometimes they talk too much with their hands. Sometimes they're huffed up to understand.
But
maybe they want to throw too much garlic into things, but I've never had any of them that were overly touchy because of their Italian heritage.
They have a Lou Gehrig type streak in New York. 3 straight governors out of there for being too handsy.
Yeah.
That's I'm not even upset about it. I want now this lady that's in charge. I really want it to be, because I don't want it to be gender specific.
To 4? That's going to be interesting.
Listen, I think you get a little wine in her, you get a little conversation, a little dinner dancing, and then something weird happens. I just want them to go 4 for 4. That's it. I want them to pull Pete Rose. One of them's got to be a triple, and I'm good with it.
It's a cycle. Yeah, cycle.
How do you feel, though, about the media turning around and saying, well, it's now let's just move on from it, is what they're saying.
Well, absolutely. I mean, how fast did we forget about the Me Too movement? How quickly did that go away?
Oh, did you see the other part? The Me Too people that had to resign because they knew about it and they covered it up for him and threatened the people that were coming after him.
Yeah, it's insanity.
Do you know who else was involved in that? One Barry Hussein Babama was also part of this because Chris Cuomo talked to him about helping him back between 2012 and 2016. Because he was his advisor on this. His consigliere, or whatever they call it.
Here's my shock face.
All I'm saying is we had this big movement and all this money that was donated and things were going to change. And the people that were leading that now apparently don't care. And now you can chase the secretaries around like you used to in the 60s and 70s. And I guess that's
sure.
will go.
You know, it's a symptom of power and money, man. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all that matters to these people. And I say these people very intently.
That seems racist. You needed to clarify these people.
These people. And I mean, I am racist against politicians.
Yeah.
They're all the same. I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. It doesn't matter.
Well, that's the other thing is it seems like we've taken sides. And the next topic we're going to get to, you have to take a side, but we're forgetting that these people are working congruently.
Yeah.
And they're not working for us.
Right. No.
They're just dictating policy, right?
Yeah.
So what I don't understand is TV ratings keep plunging because everybody's streaming things now, right? Whether it's YouTube or whether on Netflix or whatever.
Watching Broad Street Radio.
I mean, this is the show to watch.
How many radio shows do you get to watch? I mean, think about that.
Yeah. Now, is it good? No, I wouldn't watch this. But it is on. That's all it has to be.
That's
it
true.
Just has to exist. It doesn't have to be good. But when I see these people,
let's be honest. Let's be honest. You said you wouldn't watch this show, but if it came down to watching this or having the State of the Union address with our current illustrious president online,
pick
right
any
now,
president. Pick any president.
True.
I would watch this show over the
That's
State
a good
of
point.
Union.
Yeah,
Excuse me, if John F. Kennedy today, with half of his head was doing it, I'd tune in for 15 minutes. That's all I'm going to tell you. I would watch for at least 15 minutes and go, I don't know what he's saying. But I look at it and I say, we are just going with the flow, whatever the media is going to tell us. So people are turning against these heroes of we can't say, let's just say the illness that we can't speak about. All these people that were leading the charge, now all of a sudden we're turning on them. It's like we're done with them, and now we're going to slit their throat.
They've lost usefulness. Yes, right. That's accurate.
So speaking of lost usefulness, Afghanistan. Anything going on over there we should cover?
No. I think the media's got it.
What I like is that the media
got it.
And listen, I want to say this right now. We've never said this when we've had guests here. We are very pro-war, just like MSNBC and everybody else. We want war. It's awesome, right? Perfect. So all these war hawks on CNN and Fox and everybody else, they're saying, why did we ever pull out? Right? I think we all ask that question, why do we ever pull out? If you're a real man, you don't. But when you see what's going on in Afghanistan and you see when Biden has a press conference a month ago, don't worry about it. It'll take them months to recover this.
Right. Yeah.
It took the time to go through the Starbucks drive-through for the Taliban to be in charge again, right?
No doubt about it.
Right?
Yep.
So is that a victory or is that a defeat?
Damn, man. I don't know. Look, you know I love a good conspiracy theory.
That's part of what this show's about.
It was planned.
Coals. That's all I got to say. Coals.
That's where I was going with it. Yes. Coals is still involved somehow.
We pulled out of Afghanistan and let the Taliban, a traditionally speaking, authoritarian and barbaric regime that we created, by the way. Okay, we let them take back over.
That's an opinion.
All for the benefit of Coles. No doubt about it.
Now, see,
for the benefit of Coles, yep.
Yeah.
You know how many coupons? You can have like 4 coupons on Coles. This is not a plug for Coles. I'm just saying those guys will honor any coupon. What I'm curious about is that Richard Engel, do you know who he is? The guy's a hero. The guy's always like, when the fighting's over, he's like 70 miles away and he's like, I was in Kabul today. Almost like Brian Williams.
I was going to say, so he was on the same helicopter with Brian
Williams was almost shot down and almost in a helicopter. Now he's in it with Sinbad and Hillary Rodham Clinton. But he was on there saying he can't believe that people didn't see that this was coming. The withdrawal was supposed to be in May anyway, May 1st.
Right. And then they delayed it to September 11th, which was weird.
But you're confused when they show this map of what they're taking. These people are walking in their Skechers from whatever hellscape that they were in to go ahead and take the city over because in May it was supposed to.
Right.
Now we're all surprised that they took back their land.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, so I was having this conversation with my wife. I said, can you imagine that we live in the United States and name another country that you make it up, you pick it up, it doesn't matter, Name another country that would occupy American soil and we'd be like, oh, cool. Thank God they're here. Nobody would.
Manhattan?
Well, maybe California. Honestly, if we had people occupying our country, we would all be grabbing all the guns that we all own, which,
First of all, that we all own that aren't registered.
Well, of course,
okay? We'll turn the registered ones
see me
in.
out the backyard.
We can only carry so many of them, but
right.
I get your point.
We would all be taking up arms and fighting.
Right.
Why would we expect anybody else to be different?
Well, what I think is funny is if you look back on Desert Storm, when we got there, they were surrendering to the news crews because it was kind of like, hey, man, we don't even know what's going on.
Right.
So then we said, okay, that's fine. Now we go back over there and occupy for 21 years. I think the number is $2 trillion. I could have that number wrong.
Oh, my God.
$2 trillion that we've spent to do this. What is the right move? To stay or to go?
Well, what the right move is whatever's going to make the most money for our government and, Lockheed Martin and Raytheon.
Right.
That's what they're going to decide to do.
Also,
and,
big sponsors of this show.
Yes.
Go war.
Yeah. My guess is that China's like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say that word.
No, you have to say something other than that.
Other than that, yeah.
People
sorry.
good at karate.
The Far East Canadian country.
Right.
That's right.
They probably were like, hey, you owe us some money. We've got all your debt. We want these poppy fields. Okay, you can have it.
You can't talk about the poppy fields either.
Why not?
Well, because that's where their heroin is that the CIA then takes over to the United States. You can't talk about that. Bill, get by the microphone. Don't run away from this conversation. You were just talking about this the other day.
I told you I'm all about conspiracy theories. None of this is proven fact.
Totally. Yeah. Just don't Google Project Mockingbird. Anyway, Bill, your take on it, because we're all Jonathan and I are the same age, and you're roughly 40 years older than us.
Yep.
You've lived through these times where you saw what happened in Saigon. Remember, there won't be that Saigon moment, and yet there are those helicopters coming in, right?
Yep.
We're not going to be getting people out of buildings from helicopters.
Right. Some of them will be attached to planes.
Well, we don't need to.
holding.
They're jumping on the planes as they're leaving.
Right. Do you?
I want to talk about that here in a second, but go for it.
No, by all means.
I want to know, okay, so what's your end game here? You jump on a C-130 that's going to go to 40,000 feet, and miraculously you're going to be alive when it comes down and lands in another country.
I think a gentleman already proved that that's not how it works, right? Didn't they land and they said, oh,
we're not 100% sure that guy was trying to escape. He might have just been trying to free fall. You've seen that on, Red Bull sponsors those people that do that, attach a GoPro. Yeah, that's what I think he was doing.
Maybe. I don't understand it. I mean,
yeah.
How bad must it be over there? You must have done something if you're like, I need on that plane.
It's moving and getting ready to leave.
Right.
I'm like,
how do you rationalize that?
I've been at events where they have multiple buses come up, and the bus starts getting full. I'm like, I'll wait for the next one, right? I mean, I'm never that guy that's trying to squeeze into one of these. Now, again, I've never quite been in a scenario like these people
But you
are.
also didn't go to a fair in Kabul.
Right.
So it's fair to say.
Correct.
The situation might be a little bit different.
But I'm like,
just slightly.
And if you've seen the videos of these people in front of the planes, and the planes just we're leaving out.
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody get really run over, which surprised me. And maybe they could stop the camera there. I don't know. But I was watching it and I was floored. I'm like, how desperate do you have to be that your best option is to hop onto a plane that's getting ready to leave the ground and go to 40,000 feet?
But even thinking about that, okay, look at my options here. All right, if I try to jump on this plane and I hang on to the outside of it, I'm going to die. Or I could wait to die later. I don't know. Maybe I'll wait later and see if something else happens. I don't know. Maybe just go hide out in the desert for 40
I don't know.
days.
But let's go back to, because I love the people falling off planes. Just in general, this situation is completely separate. But,
it's crazy.
We're seeing now on television all these people saying what a failure the shutting down the war was. Not what happened for 21 years, right? Which is right.
Yes.
So what was our end game there? I don't think we had one.
No.
So pulling out of there, I'm not a Jim Biden fan, as I say all the time. Mainly because I'm not going to say his name. But you have to pull out at some point. So Trump was already going to pull people out anyway. Right. It is technically their country.
Yes.
Right? So let them have it. And from what I see, there's not been any violence towards Americans now at the time we're taping this. Who knows? But it seems they're letting them leave, but they just want their country back. So are we doing the right thing by leaving? Or do we stay and occupy and keep spending American money? Because I'll tell you that here's the next question. I think it's $785 billion what we spend on that war. You could turn around and give people health care now.
Well, it could be. I mean, it certainly would seem that would be a wiser choice. Everyone hated Trump's, America First agenda, but it's kind of where we live.
I hadn't heard anything negative about him.
No?
Bill, what's your opinion, though? Because, again, you have roughly 9 or 11 children at home.
36.
In cages.
36.
In cages.
30 are in
But-
cages,
but-
right?
Right.
When you see this and you think of the opportunity we have for kids in daycares, healthcare just for senior citizens or just in general, do you see that that's going to come back to the people, or we're going to have?
It's not coming back to yeah.
Okay,
I
so the next
appreciate
question is-
I appreciate this facetious question.
Well, that was leading to my next thing. Who are we going to war with next with that extra $1?
Wow.
We got to pick somebody.
Well, I mean, do you honestly think just because
Do I get to choose? Is that what we're doing here?
Of Afghanistan now?
You
We're
get
not
to
gonna go back?
nominate. You get to nominate a country that we're going to go knock their dick into the dirt, but it's just a suggestion box right now.
There's a suggestion box.
At what point do we
what?
reclaim all of our weapons that we've given Mexico and Afghanistan?
You know what we ought to do? So
Iran.
we bring all those troops back, and we kind of do like, what do they call, like a bar crawl? We have them go through Mexico, take out all those people there, but on the way back, right before then we send them back to Vietnam because they're not going to expect us coming, and then we have like a dual party when they get back. Brought to you by Bud Light.
And then some guy comes out of the jungle after 60 years and he's like, yes, the war's still going.
Yeah, I was looking for my ride. You guys left me.
Yeah.
I just think that's a better use of our military money. Since they're not going to give that taxpayer money back to us.
Right. There's no chance.
What is the total number of that they've spent? Is it $4 trillion? Remember they keep upping. So we're at like $11 trillion
I quit
or
counting.
something.
I quit watching.
I'm just saying, take that money from the war that we're not fighting anymore, put it right back to the bottom line.
Well, not only to the bottom line, but you go back to one of the shows we did earlier with Will Prater with the staffing agency with Capital
was
City.
awful. Can't wait till we see him again.
You sometimes they knock it out of the park, sometimes they swing and miss. But love you, Will. Anyway, you take a look at all the money that's going into helping people who don't have jobs. We could take a fraction of that money and incentivize people to go to work, and it would fix a lot of the problems these staffing agencies have, all these different employers, the small businesses that are trying to figure out what do I do because people don't want to work. Instead of paying $300 a week to stay home, pay them $300 a week on top of what they're going to get paid to go
Get
work.
a job, yeah.
I'll give you a better one. I know he's going to know this answer. What do companies do for CEOs when they are making record profits?
They pay them, man.
They pay the CEO a bonus.
Right,
I think all of our government's going to go, you did a great job. Here's a little bit. Rashida
you're right.
Tlaib, here's a
Well,
couple million.
We talked about that, right, with Chipotle. On one of the episodes, we talked about how they were raising
I've been
prices.
an advocate
right?
for bombing Chipotle.
We were talking about how they raised some prices because of increasing wages, but then their CEO's salary doubled, more than doubled, right? From bonuses and things like that.
The thing you guys have to understand, though, and I'm not defending these white collar criminals.
Here we go. I thought you were going to say white people.
No. I'm not defending them, but a lot of CEOs' compensation comes from stock, right?
Stock, deferred compensation.
It's already pre-planned. It's been baked into all of the financials that they do, and it's stock. So if the stock goes up in value, their pay goes up.
Right.
Look, the stock could also go to zero, and people forget.
Well,
that.
it could.
Just ask GM.
But I'm familiar with those comp structures. But when COVID was gone, they removed the different tiers and paid them out at a max, and then say we have to raise prices because of increased wages we're paying to our employees. I'm like, let's.
Well, I mean, there is only one CEO.
Well, understood.
There's 100,000.
Do the math. We
Just call
talked
them
about this on the
peons.
show, and
Just
I don't
call
want to
them
get us
peons.
off.
Just call them individual contributors. That's what
individual.
we're
Yeah, exactly. That's what we'll do. But that's why I think if we could just take a fraction of that money, right, and put it back into our economy, getting people to work, incentivizing them to work, I think it would change commerce here in the U.S.
Well, I would actually rather see it go to the small businesses, and then the business could pass it on to the the employee.
But you got to make sure that happens because not everybody is going to do that.
No, but listen, you just talked to Will, who talked about he works for a staffing company, and nobody wants to work. So they're not going to keep it because they don't get it if they don't get employees.
Yeah.
It's got to be a stipulation of if you have to hire X amount of people. I think that's a much smarter way to, and I know everyone's going to be like, oh, he's talking about trickle down economics, which doesn't work.
Reagan.
Yeah, I know.
What did he ever do? He fought the commies. That's what he did.
But we're on the same page. No matter how they do it, they need to take some of that money and put it back into incentivizing people to get off their couch, show up to work on a Monday, and not leave on their first break.
I never knew that I had an option.
Yeah, until Will said that, I was like, wait a minute, you don't have to go in on Monday.
Like I could choose not to show up.
I did have somebody before we were recording.
I do like the idea that Monday's still part of the week, and I could get behind that.
Well,
part.
listen to this. So before I came in here, one of the radio stations, I was talking to them, and they said, what do you think of this idea if they sell 5 of these events and we give them a Friday off? I said, they're 100% commission, right? Yep. What the hell would that matter? I'm not going to sell anything, so I'm not going to. I'm technically off work if I just go sit on my couch. Show up in the morning, come at night, did nothing. That's a day off.
Yep.
I can tell you this, back in 1999, we would spend a lot of time not working. Well, we always checked in the morning. We were like firefighters and there was never a fire. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like, yeah, I busted my ass today and nothing happened. So you're welcome, Pete. Thanks for hiring me. So I did notice that they were talking to, not the press secretary because she was getting her hair done or something. They asked what was going to happen with that money that's budgeted for the war, and nobody seems to have that answer. I would have thought when you thought in 2020 we're pulling out, somebody would have been like, where do we put this extra cash? You know what I mean? What mattress will we shove this in? Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen next. We've got to prepare. I heard somebody, I think it was on CNN, we've got to prepare for the coming war that might happen with China or Russia. We haven't had to really worry about Russia since Ivan Drago. After that, it's all been downhill for them. I think we build up Putin to be Skeletor, like he's going to really do something.
Did he sponsor us again today?
Oh, Vladimir Putin is the sponsor of the show every single week. And I
didn't realize we'd actually signed that agreement. That's
that
awesome.
chair is open. If Vladimir Putin ever wants to come on the show, I want him in that. Actually, I want him in this chair.
Well, absolutely.
I
would give up my seat.
I did see that Russia is going to acknowledge the Taliban as the Afghani government, and I think that's a huge step to get a bunch of weapons that we left behind.
I think you're right. I think holy shit, you guys got Blackhawks? Let's have a conversation about your new government.
You know that picture we talked about with Putin shirtless on the horse?
Yeah,
I picture Putin shirtless in a Blackhawk.
In a Blackhawk, yeah, absolutely.
Like not flying around, just on the ground because he didn't know how to pilot it. I think there's so many
with
good
a sign
things
that says "Welcome to Afghanistan" right next to it.
Yeah,
we got to make sure they know where that's at.
All I know is there's so many things going. You don't even have time now to look back and go, "What's the story today that I should care about?" That's a really bad position to be in because we used to only think about Obama wearing a tan suit. That was a big deal, right? Like that was a scandal for months. Or the birth certificate thing, whatever those controversies might be. These are real life things that we don't have time to comprehend what is happening to even evaluate an opinion. We just move on to the next thing.
You know what's crazy? You're absolutely right. And there is so much into this story that people don't know about or aren't paying attention to. Like I have friends who are former military, and they're reaching out.
Which country?
I
didn't know if they were Chinese military.
No.
Okay.
No. So they're reaching out to anybody they know, trying to get contacts with people that help the United States government in Afghanistan and trying to connect them to the State Department so they can get them out of the country. Like that's a big movement right now on Facebook is that people are actively trying to help get these people who were friendly to us because they know what's going to happen.
Right.
And I don't know if you saw it with the Afghanistan government's like, hey, just turn in your guns. No big deal. Like, you don't need them anymore. We're here to protect you.
I did see that.
That's a big movement on Facebook?
No.
That?
No.
I thought you said it was a big movement on Facebook.
With these people that were helping us, like as translators.
Translators.
That was going to be the next big thing now that Brittany's conservatorship's going to end. So we're moving to this. That makes a lot of sense now.
Totally.
Could you imagine that if they did that here in the state? I mean, first of all, just turn it into any cop. You'd get shot in a minute. I'm trying to hand it to you. Please put your gun down. Here you go.
But isn't that crazy though? That everyone's like, oh yeah, this makes sense. They should totally turn in their guns. No, they should not. They should take aim and fire them.
That would be in my sock drawer. Just a missile launcher. I don't know what happened to it, but I want to be able to defend these people.
Is that an RPG in your pants, or are you just happy to see me?
Yeah. I feel bad for the people over there, but again, it's their country. Right.
It is, but it's going to be horrific, man. Like,
here's what I worry about 10 years from now, right?
Yeah.
The infrastructure, China's putting money in that country. Russia's putting rubles or whatever they use over there.
I'm telling you, they're definitely plowing money into the Afghani. That's their currency.
Well, China's already talking about building roads.
Yeah.
Right? Building infrastructure.
Well, how else are you going to get to the poppy fields?
Right. Well, listen, there's some money in there. I know because I'm on heroin now. But if we look in the future, 10 years from now, I'd never forget that. Remember they said, if we don't get the terrorists, they raise other terrorists?
Right. Well, we created a lot.
You know how you create a terrorist?
Yeah.
Drop shit on their head from planes over top and kill bomb their schools.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we are the problem or the solution. I don't think we should have been there. And I've said that since yesterday.
That's a bold position to take.
Well, listen, once we were out of there, I knew I couldn't be wrong. I couldn't, we got to get those boys out. We got them out. I'm on that side. So quickly to summarize, boys, Bill, your take, Governor Cuomo, should he be reinstated?
Huh? No.
No, I just want to see what Bill would say.
What cracked the fact that would even be an option, or if you were him, would you even want to be reinstated?
No, I'd get a talk show.
Exactly.
I'd be on MSNBC and act like it never happened.
When Pooh's not here, he can take the seat.
Somebody, if anyone knows Governor Cuomo,
let's get him out here.
We will have him in. He has to.
You know what? We'll even take his brother Chris.
We will not take him.
No, we won't.
Fredo. Boys, that's going to be it for Broad Street Radio this week. We will see you next week.